Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with the next May I Scraplift You, which is a hop that was created by Crystal Barrett with pineapple papers. And the next person on her list of people who had approved to be or, agreed to be scrap lifted was Melinda Sweetman. And so I decided on the layout based on the fact that I have a bunch of scraps. And here is the layout. Super cute butterfly paper, but the tearing of the paper was what I really was excited about, and that is her Instagram account. She also has a YouTube account, which is under her name, Melinda Sweetman, and she is most likely listed below in the plethora of awesome people who are hopping along. So I know I just used my Vicki Boutin color study yesterday in May I Scraplift You, but I had some of these scraps left in my scrap bag and I was trying to put them back and they were getting caught up, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use these and I'm going to find a picture that is super colorful to fit the concept of all this beautiful color. So I also have these stickers in the project pad and my ephemera, and I thought I could use some of that up as well. And since my picture is about as colorful as you can get, it's my school and many of the staff that I work with, and it was a celebration of School of the Year. And so I felt like it was the best time to use a color study because we are wearing lots and lots of bright red, yellow, orange, green, and blue. And so I wanted to incorporate this into the layout. This layout is going to go into a book that I'm creating for my boss because he's leaving. So I have this picture, my papers, and my embellishments in this layout. So let's see how this goes. So I cut out the first part where I fiddled around and fussed around trying to figure out what I was going to use scrap-wise. So that matted piece on the back is definitely a scrap. I did cut a solid white cardstock down to 10.5 by 10.5, and I pull this pink scrap from yesterday's layout and this floral scrap, and I'm pretty certain I'm going to use those. Spoiler alert, I don't use that pink piece. I put that away, and then that other piece with the polka dots has the days of the week, and I thought that'd be fitting, but it's going the wrong way. So if I used that, it would end up being sideways. The little initials of the days of the week would be sideways, and I thought that would look silly. So I set those aside and I pull out the rest of my scraps. I've got this black piece, and this is all from the Vicki Boutin project pad or loose papers from the Vicki Boutin color study collection. So I just get anything that looks big enough that I might be able to work with. And then I also have a 6x8 paper pad. So because this is for a school layout, and like I said, it's going to go in a book that I'm creating for my boss for, he is leaving at the end of the semester. So I figure pencils and any kind of things like that would be fitting. So I pulled that paper from the 6x8 paper pad. Y'all, it's getting late and I'm stumbling over my words, and I think I started this video voiceover about 5 times, and I finally felt like I was getting somewhere, and my daughter called. It is almost midnight. Why are you calling me? So anyway, I decided that I'm going to go with the red and the black. I definitely will bring in the floral because we are holding flowers, and there are flowers and decorations in the pictures. And it's not like a perfect match to the picture colors because they are vibrant primary red, yellow, blue, green, and orange. But the concept of all the color is really the most important thing. And so I add the black, I have the red, and then I'm going to add that floral as the next layer. And I love the concept of this. And my picture is bigger, hers is matted within the torn paper, and mine comes down further. But I really just love the concept of the torn paper. And also, her layout looks like she's stitched all the way around, and I am not doing that. I don't typically stitch very often on my layouts, and this is not one of those times, so that's why I matted my layout. And that's a little bit different, but I did get my inspiration from her and all the torn paper and everything. And I think that's the really neat part about scrap lifting people, is that just like with sketches, you take from it what calls to you and what fits what you want, and you go from there. And so that makes me happy. So I get this down and I decide that this little bit of whitish paper at the top is not solid. It is actually like grid paper. And like I said, this is for my principal at school. And so I felt like anything office or school related would be fitting on the layout. So I have the 6x8 paper and I'm going to trim my picture down just a smidge so that you can see the different colors on the right and left of the picture. And then I'm going to cut the paper to 4.5 inches so that you have enough of a visual on the top and bottom of the pencils, because that's what it is, coloring pencils. And like I said, they are going to come down over the torn paper, and I'm okay with that because you can still see the torn paper on the right and the left, and I don't cover much of that up with my other layers. However, when I went to lay it down, that paper with the pencils on it is the base of it is black, and since my top layer was black, it was not standing out. So I took a little bit more of that red paper and just made another little small torn layer for that. And then I'm just going to get this down. Looks like, oh, I was just making sure that everything was sticking. Now, I will say, I barely cut anything out of this. This took me 38 minutes, 100% from start to finish, and that was picking the papers, cutting the papers, taping everything down, hem-hawing back and forth about a couple things. So I honestly could have probably finished this layout in about 25 minutes had I not hem-hawed and tapped my fingers so much. But it really came together pretty easily, and I really do love the way it turned out. And we are adding things to the layouts later. Staff members are going to write notes, and I'm going to add them to the layouts. So I'm trying to leave some space on all of the layouts so they will not be super busy and probably not full of mixed media, just because I got to have space for the messages from the staff members. We got about 60 of them. So I went through my ephemera kit and pulled out the things that I thought I might want to use. I really thought about this whole lot of awesome or a ton of awesome label or tag, but it didn't really fit the space. And I'm, like I said, making an entire book, so I am certain that I can find a place later for that. So I decided to use My Kind of Day. It has all the colors that are on this in this paper, and I put it up on foam because I wanted it to stand out a little bit. And I'm really thinking I'm going to use that Yes Please that's down there in the bottom, and I consider tucking that in down there, but I just did not decide I wanted to use that. I did put this here label or tag up here at the top, and I cut the backs of those off. I know they fold over, but I really feel like it's pointless to do that, and maybe somebody can tell me why you would leave that on there when I could use that solid on another layout and get more use out of it. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing. So I took from the sticker sheet that came from this collection, the pencil, a colored pencil and a regular pencil, and I put one of them down kind of cattywampus down there on the bottom left, and then I get into my Tim Holtz and I find a word phrase or a sentence that says, "You are capable of becoming more than you realize." And then I put another pencil below it, so it's being sandwiched by the coloring pencils, and I love that. And then I am going to pull another word phrase off. First, I'm going to fiddle with this Yes Please. Like I said, I wanted to tuck it in over here in the corner, but then it was going to cover that little bit of torn paper over there, and I felt like that was kind of the whole point of this layout. So then I get another word phrase that says, "When nothing is sure, everything is possible." And like I said, he's starting a new job, so I'm sure that the uncertainty has got to be nerve-wracking. So I get all of that down there, and I get out my Paper Studio gel pens. They're gel glitter pens. And with the black, you can't see the shiny glitter as much as you can with some of the colors, but it is there. And I don't know if the up-close pictures later you'll be able to see it as much, but I definitely see it in person. So I just doodle all the way around in kind of the way she stitched. So I pulled out the project pad. Listen to my words, I'm like speaking super slow. Pulled out the project pad, and I wanted to put this camera here, but it just wasn't working for me. I mean, this is like a photo booth setup that we had, so the camera kind of fit, but it just was not working, maybe because it was so big. So I thought about putting some little gold polka dots on here, but I only have one, so I put that away. Then I ended up getting back into my ephemera, pulling this scrap of paper that is just like the background paper, and fussy cutting one of the rainbows out. And I just put that down in the bottom so it's not covering any of the torn paper, and it's just covering like a little blank space in the bottom right corner of the picture. And I feel like that kind of brings that same color scheme in, and it just, I don't know, it just added to, I have a hard time with all white space. I know it's going to be filled with like notes and things like that, but I struggle with white space. I almost got out my shiny sparkly stuff, but I didn't. So at the very bottom of that rainbow is other rainbows that were connecting, and I didn't want to cut them off because it would look weird. So instead I pull this word phrase, and I had one and it sounded good, but then I decided to pull this one that says there's nothing like a dream to create the future. And I put that over the end of the bottom of the rainbow, so it covers those two little spots that are different colors. So now I slowed it down, and I'm going to show you her layout one more time. Like I said, her name is Melinda Sweetman, and her Instagram is m_sweetman. And that will be listed below in my description box. So will the links for all the different people who are playing throughout the month of May and May I Scraplift You. And I'm really excited because I've never participated in the May I Scraplift You hop. And so this month I am following along and picking up all sorts of different things. I have another layout that'll be coming out today too. I originally was going to put them together and changed my mind just because I had this layout in mind for her, and so I'm going to scrap lift someone else or just go crazy and create my own layout for May the 4th be with you. So there it is. I hope you all will check out everyone down below and come back and see me later and tomorrow for another May I Scraplift You. I hope you all have a fantastic day and happy scrapping.